What if the love you've been chasing has been out of reach because of one simple truth you've never been told? Pause for a moment. Think about every relationship that left you feeling empty, frustrated, or unloved. What if the problem isn't them? It's something deep inside you. Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, uncovered a secret that can transform how you love and are loved. In this video, you'll discover the one truth that changes everything and a practical step to unlock the love you deserve. Stay with me, because this is the moment your heart's been waiting for. Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to show up in your life, stirring emotions you can't quite explain? Maybe it's that coworker who drives you up the wall with their arrogance, or that one person you're irresistibly drawn to, even though they're not your type. According to Carl Jung, these encounters are no accident. Every person who crosses your path, whether they spark love, frustration, or something in between, is a mirror, reflecting parts of you that you've yet to fully understand or embrace. Welcome to the first step of transforming your relationships, recognizing the relational mirror. Let's break this down. Carl Jung believed that our relationships act like a cosmic mirror, showing us aspects of ourselves we've buried, ignored, or haven't fully developed. That person who triggers you, they're not just annoying, they're holding up a reflection of something unresolved inside you. The same goes for those you admire or fall head over heels for. Their qualities, whether it's confidence, creativity, or even chaos, are often qualities you've either suppressed or haven't fully claimed in yourself. This idea, known as the relational mirror, is the key to unlocking why you keep running into the same patterns in your relationships. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 32-year-old graphic designer who came to me for coaching. Sarah kept finding herself in relationships with emotionally distant partners. Every time, she'd pour her heart into making it work, only to feel ignored and unvalued. She'd ask herself, "Why do I always end up with people who shut me out?" When we dug deeper, Sarah realized something profound. Her partners weren't the problem, she was. Not in a self-blaming way, but in the sense that she was projecting her own fear of vulnerability. Growing up, Sarah learned to hide her emotions to avoid rejection, so she unconsciously gravitated toward people who mirrored that same emotional distance. They were her mirror, showing her a part of herself she hadn't faced her own struggle to open up. Here's where it gets interesting. The relational mirror doesn't just show up in romantic relationships, it's everywhere. Think about that friend who always brags about their success, making you roll your eyes. What is it about their behavior that gets under your skin? Could it be that their confidence is highlighting your own insecurities about your achievements? Or maybe you're drawn to someone's spontaneity because, deep down, you crave more freedom in your tightly controlled life. These reactions, whether attraction or irritation, are clues to what Carl Jung called your shadow, the hidden parts of yourself that you've pushed away. So, let's try something. Pause this video for a moment and think about someone who's been on your mind lately, someone who sparks a strong emotion, good or bad. Ask yourself, what is it about this person that draws me in or pushes me away? Write it down if you can. Maybe it's their arrogance, their warmth, or their unpredictability. Now, here's the kicker. What if that quality is something you've either rejected or longed for in yourself? This simple question is the first step to seeing the mirror clearly. Carl Jung's insight here is powerful because it flips the script. Instead of asking, "Why does this person act this way?" you start asking, "What is this person showing me about myself?" This shift changes everything. Suddenly, the people who frustrate you become teachers. The ones you're drawn to become guides, pointing you toward parts of yourself waiting to be embraced. For example, if you're annoyed by someone's neediness, it might reflect a part of you that feels unworthy of love, but hides it behind independence. If you're captivated by someone's courage, it could be a sign that you're ready to step into your own bravery. Let's go back to Sarah for a moment. Once she saw her pattern, she started paying attention to her reactions. When her last partner pulled away emotionally, instead of chasing them, she asked herself, "What am I feeling right now? And why?" She realized her desperation to fix the relationship was less about her partner and more about her fear of being unlovable, a fear rooted in her childhood. By facing that fear, Sarah began to open up in small, safe ways, like sharing her feelings with trusted friends. Over time, she noticed something incredible. She stopped attracting emotionally distant people. Her mirror had changed because she had changed. This is the magic of the relational mirror. It's not about changing others, it's about changing how you see yourself. When you start recognizing these reflections, you gain the power to shift your patterns. But it takes courage. You have to be willing to look at the parts of yourself you've kept in the dark, the insecurities, the fears, the desires you've buried. Carl Jung called this process shadow work, and it's the foundation for everything we'll explore in this video. Here's a quick exercise to make this real for you. Grab a notebook or open a note on your phone. Write down the name of one person who triggers a strong reaction in you, someone who makes you feel angry, jealous, or even deeply inspired. Next to their name, jot down the specific quality that stands out to you. Is it their confidence, their chaos, their kindness now? Ask yourself, where does this quality live in me? Maybe it's a trait you've suppressed, like creativity you've never expressed. Or maybe it's something you judge in yourself, like a need for validation you're ashamed of. This exercise isn't about judgment, it's about curiosity. It's about seeing the mirror for what it is. By doing this, you're not just analyzing your relationships, you're starting a journey of self-discovery. The people in your life aren't random. They're here to show you something. And when you learn to read that mirror, you'll unlock insights that can change not just how you love, but how you live. So, stick with me as we dive deeper into the next piece of this puzzle. Your shadow, the hidden part of you that holds the key to everything. What if the key to the love you've been searching for lies in the parts of yourself you've been running from? Carl Jung called this hidden part of you the shadow, the pieces of your personality you've buried because they feel too messy, too shameful, or just too much. It's the anger you swallow, the creativity you've stifled, or the need for love you pretend you don't have. In the last chapter, we explored how the people in your life act as mirrors, reflecting these hidden parts. Now, it's time to look directly into that mirror and face your shadow. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about embracing all of who you are to unlock authentic love. Let's start with what the shadow really is. Carl Jung described it as the unconscious part of your psyche, made up of everything you've pushed away, traits you judge as bad, desires you're embarrassed by, or even talents you're scared to claim. Your shadow isn't just the negative stuff, though it's also the parts of you that could shine but haven't been given a chance. Like the confidence you've suppressed to avoid seeming arrogant, or the vulnerability you've locked away to stay strong. The problem, when you reject these parts, they don't disappear. They show up in your relationships, sabotaging your connections and keeping love out of reach. Think about Mark, a 28-year-old teacher who always prided himself on being calm and rational. Mark couldn't stand his co-worker, Lisa, who was outspoken and, in his eyes, overly emotional. Her passionate outbursts at team meetings made him cringe, and he'd leave feeling irritated. But when Mark started exploring his shadow, he uncovered something surprising. He wasn't annoyed at Lisa, he was envious. Growing up, Mark was taught that showing emotions was a sign of weakness. so he buried his own passion and sensitivity. Lisa's boldness was a mirror, reflecting the expressive part of Mark he'd locked away. By judging her, he was judging himself. This is how the shadow works. It hides in your reactions. When someone's behavior triggers you, whether it's anger, jealousy, or discomfort, it's often because they're embodying a part of your shadow. Similarly, when you're drawn to someone's qualities, like their confidence or kindness, it might point to a part of your shadow you've neglected. The shadow isn't your enemy, though it's a guide, showing you what needs attention so you can become whole. And wholeness is the foundation of true love, because you can't fully love or be loved if you're rejecting parts of yourself. So, how do you start facing your shadow? It begins with brutal honesty and a willingness to get curious, not judgmental. Let's walk through a real example. Imagine you're at a party, and someone's arrogance grates on your nerves. They're boasting about their success, and you can't help but roll your eyes. Instead of writing them off, pause and ask, "What about this bothers me so much?" Maybe their arrogance reminds you of a time you wanted to shine, but felt too afraid of being seen as too much. Or maybe, deep down, you crave recognition, but feel ashamed of that desire. This moment of curiosity is the first step to uncovering your shadow. Let's make this practical with a story about Emily, a 35-year-old marketing manager who kept attracting partners who needed fixing. Every relationship felt like a project. Her partners were either emotionally unavailable or struggling with personal issues, and Emily would exhaust herself trying to save them. She thought she was just being caring, but her pattern was draining her. When Emily started shadow work, she realized she was drawn to these partners because they mirrored her own unacknowledged need for care. As a child, Emily had to be the strong one in her family, so she buried her own vulnerability. Her partner's neediness was her shadow, reflecting the care she craved, but never allowed herself to receive. Emily's breakthrough came when she tried a simple exercise, writing a letter to her shadow. She addressed the part of herself that felt unworthy of care, thanking it for protecting her all those years and promising to give it space to be seen. This act of self-compassion was transformative. Emily started setting boundaries in her relationships, saying no to fixer-upper partners and yes to her own needs. Over time, she noticed she was attracting people who valued her for who she was, not what she could do for them. Her shadow wasn't gone. It was integrated, no longer running the show from the shadows. Here's where you come in. Grab a notebook or your phone and try this exercise yourself. Think of someone who triggers a strong reaction in you. Maybe they annoy you, inspire you, or make you feel small. Write down one quality that stands out about them. Is it their confidence, their neediness, their chaos now? Ask yourself, where does this quality live in me? Be honest, but don't judge. If you're irritated by someone's arrogance, could it be that you've suppressed your own desire to be seen? If you admire someone's kindness, might you be neglecting your own capacity for compassion? This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about seeing yourself clearly. This exercise is powerful because it shifts your perspective. Instead of pointing fingers at others, you start taking responsibility for your reactions. That doesn't mean you're at fault. It means you have the power to change. Carl Jung believed that integrating your shadow is the path to individuation, the process of becoming your true, whole self. And when you're whole, you stop seeking love to fill a void. You start offering love from a place of fullness, and that's when your relationships transform. One last thing before we move on. Shadow work isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming authentic. Your shadow will always be part of you, but when you stop fighting it, it becomes a source of strength. Mark, the teacher, started embracing his emotional side by sharing his feelings with close friends. It felt awkward at first, but it deepened his connections. Emily learned to ask for help instead of always being the helper, and it brought her closer to the people in her life. These small steps toward integration changed how they showed up in their relationships and how others showed up for them. As you start this journey, be gentle with yourself. Facing your shadow takes courage, but it's worth it. Every time you acknowledge a hidden part of yourself, you're one step closer to the love you've been searching for, not the kind that depends on someone else, but the kind that starts within you. So, let's keep going. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to turn this self-awareness into self-love, the ultimate key to transforming your relationships. What if the love you've been searching for isn't something you find in someone else, but something you build within yourself? Carl Jung taught us that true love, authentic, fulfilling love starts with embracing every part of who you are, light and shadow alike. In the last chapter, we uncovered the shadow, the hidden parts of you that shape your relationships. Now, we're diving into the final piece of the puzzle, self-love. This isn't about cheesy affirmations or forcing yourself to feel good enough. It's about accepting your whole self flaws, fears, and all so you can love and be loved without needing someone else to complete you. Let's explore how self-love transforms not just your heart, but every relationship in your life. Self-love is the foundation of everything Carl Jung stood for. He believed that until you integrate your shadow and accept yourself unconditionally, you'll keep searching for love in all the wrong places. Why? Because when you reject parts of yourself, you create an inner void, a hole you try to fill with approval, validation, or someone else's affection. But here's the truth. No one can fill that void except you. Self-love isn't a reward you earn for being perfect. It's your birthright. It's the act of choosing yourself over and over, even when you mess up, even when you feel unworthy. And when you do that, something miraculous happens. You stop attracting relationships that drain you and start creating connections that reflect your wholeness. Let's meet Alex, a 40-year-old software engineer who spent years in toxic relationships. Alex was a people pleaser, always putting others' needs before his own. He'd bend over backward to make his partners happy, only to feel unappreciated and resentful. He thought, if I just give more, they'll love me back. But the more he gave, the emptier he felt. When Alex started working on self-love, he realized he'd been abandoning himself to gain approval. His pattern of attracting demanding partners was a mirror of his own unacknowledged need to prioritize himself. By rejecting his own needs, he was teaching others to do the same. Alex's journey to self-love began with a simple but powerful shift. He started saying no. At first, it felt selfish. When a partner asked him to drop everything to help them, he'd pause and ask, is this what I really want? Over time, he learned to set boundaries, like taking time for his hobbies or saying no to plans that didn't feel right. This wasn't about becoming cold or distant. It was about honoring himself. As Alex started valuing his own needs, he noticed a change. He began attracting partners who respected his boundaries and valued him for who he was, not just what he could offer. His relationships became spaces of mutual growth, not one-sided sacrifice. So, how do you start building self-love? It's not about standing in front of a mirror reciting affirmations, though, that can help. It's about small, intentional acts of compassion toward yourself. One powerful exercise is to write a letter to your shadow, the parts of you you've judged or hidden. Let's say you've always felt ashamed of your need for attention. In your letter, address that part of yourself with kindness. You might write, "Dear need for attention, thank you for wanting me to be seen. I'm sorry I've judged you. I promise to give you space to shine in healthy ways." This act of acknowledging and accepting your shadow is like giving yourself a warm hug. It's a step toward wholeness. Here's another story to bring this to life. Meet Priya, a 29-year-old nurse who struggled with feeling not good enough. Priya grew up in a family where love was tied to achievement, so she became a perfectionist, always striving to prove her worth. In relationships, she'd seek partners who seemed perfect, hoping their approval would make her feel whole. But these relationships always left her feeling small, because she was projecting her own self-judgment onto them. When Priya started practicing self-love, she began with a daily ritual every morning. She'd write down one thing she appreciated about herself, no matter how small, like her kindness to patients or her quirky sense of humor. Over time, this practice rewired her self-perception. She stopped chasing perfect partners and started attracting people who loved her for her authentic, imperfect self. Now it's your turn. Try this exercise. Grab a notebook or your phone and write down one thing you've judged yourself for. Maybe it's a mistake you made, a trait you dislike, or a need you've hidden. Next, write a short note to that part of yourself. Thank it for teaching you something, even if it's been painful. For example, if you judge yourself for being too emotional, you might write, "Thank you for feeling so deeply. It shows how much you care. I'll honor you by expressing my emotions in safe spaces." This exercise isn't about fixing yourself. It's about making peace with who you are. And when you do that, you create space for love to flow, both inward and outward. Self-love also means breaking free from old patterns. Remember Alex, the people pleaser. One of his biggest breakthroughs was recognizing that his need to fix others was a way of avoiding his own pain. By setting boundaries, he learned to prioritize himself without guilt. For Priya, it was about letting go of perfectionism and embracing her quirks. For you, it might be forgiving yourself for a past mistake or allowing yourself to want something you've been taught is wrong. Like rest or recognition, these acts of self-love aren't selfish, they're revolutionary. They signal to the world that you're worthy of love, exactly as you are. Here's the beautiful paradox: when you love yourself unconditionally, you stop needing others to fill your gaps. You become a source of love, not a seeker of it. And that's when your relationships transform. You no longer attract people who mirror your wounds. You attract those who reflect your wholeness. Carl Jung called this individuation the process of becoming your true self. When you're whole, you don't need someone to complete you. You share love from a place of abundance, creating relationships that are about growth, not dependency. Before we wrap up this chapter, let's try one more practice. Think about a moment in your life when you felt unloved or unworthy. Maybe it was a breakup, a rejection, or a time you felt invisible. Now, imagine your current self speaking to that past version of you. What would you say? Maybe, "You are enough, exactly as you are," or "Your worth isn't defined by what others think." Write down those words and keep them somewhere you can see them. This simple act of compassion toward your past self is a seed of self-love that will grow over time. As you embrace self-love, you'll notice something incredible. The love you've been chasing starts to find you, not because you're fixed, but because you're authentic. You're no longer hiding parts of yourself. So the people you attract see you for who you truly are. In the next chapter, we'll tie this all together with a powerful call to action to make self-love a daily practice and transform your relationships forever. Stay with me. This is where it all comes together. This is it, the moment you stop searching for love and start becoming it. Carl Jung showed us that true love begins within. By embracing your shadow and choosing to love yourself, flaws and all. Now, it's your turn to take that first step. Write that letter to your shadow. Say no to what drains you, and say yes to your worth. If this journey moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share your biggest takeaway in the comments below. What part of yourself are you ready to embrace? Hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Let's build a community of self-love and transformation together. Your journey starts now. See you in the next video.